Hi, you've reached Joyce Barnett's channel. Today I'm going to talk about 5 ways that you can do house hacking. One good way to make money in real estate to house hack. Number 1 house hack, there's going to be 5 of them. By the end of this video, you're going to know all 5. Number 1 house hack, buying a duplex. When you purchase a duplex, you put 3.5% down. You can qualify for FHA on a duplex where you only put 3.5% down of your own money, which is great. And you can have the seller pay your closing costs. You can ask the seller to pay your closing costs and only put 3.5% down. And one nice thing about it is when you do purchase it, they're going to give you 75% qualification of whatever rent you can get for the second unit. So you're going to live in one unit, the second unit, you're going to get 75% credit towards qualifying on whatever that rental amount is. So if it's $2,000, you're going to get 75% of that towards qualifying for your loan, which is nice. And so that's one way to house hack, and that's a great way actually, because you're going to qualify, and it's a lot easier to qualify when you get that extra 75% towards qualifying. Number 2 house hack, doing an Airbnb on the house that you own now. So if you own a house and you want to rent a room out or do an Airbnb, that's going to give you extra money that you can put towards your payment on your mortgage. Let's say you have a room that maybe the master bedroom, you want to rent that out to do Airbnb. One of the greatest things about being able to rent out a master bedroom, if it's at the end of the hallway, depending on how the house is set up, if it's at the end of the hallway, you can seal off that area. And if it has a separate entrance, let's say a sliding glass door, or you could even make a door, take a window out, make a door, have its own separate entrance for them to come and go, which is perfect for Airbnb because then they're not coming inside your property. You have that area sealed off, and it's really nice because they're not disturbing you. Or you can get a roommate and rent that part out too, where they don't go inside your house. You set up a kitchen area for them, and you know what? Boom, you're making extra money. Nowadays, you got to figure out ways to make extra income, and again, one of the best ways is to actually rent out part of your property. The best way to do it is to try to make it separate from your property. So if you have a 2-story, maybe the master bedroom has a balcony with a slider or a window where you can actually take the window out, put a door, build a deck with a stairway so they have their own separate entrance and they're not disturbing you. And then you can put a kitchen in. So that right there is going to make you extra money. That was house hack number 2. And now we're going to go to house hack number 3. Okay, so anyway, house hack number 3 is an ADU. It's a separate unit, or it can be part of your property. So if you have a 2-car garage or a 3-car garage, you can convert that into an ADU. They're actually giving loans for the ADUs right now that are pretty good. Or if you have an equity line of credit on your home that you can actually get to help build that. If you're good with tools yourself, you can build your own unit in your garage and you can rent that out. That's an ADU. You can rent it out as a separate apartment, and that will help you bring money into your home so that you can pay your house off early or just extra money. When you do that too, you qualify for a lot of benefits, tax benefits, because then you've got a part of your property that you can write off. Even though you're getting the income from it, you can write off part of your property. You can depreciate part of your property, which is really nice. You can also build a separate unit on your property if you have the room in your backyard. Now, one good thing, Governor Newsom has made it easier to do an ADU. It's easy to get a loan for that. Because of the housing shortage, he's made it easier for people to do that. And they're actually giving some grants for that too now. If you search online, they're giving grants, which would be money to actually help you build the ADU, which is nice. And that brings extra money in your pocket. You got to think about that. Number 4, that would be to do a flip property and live in the property while you're doing the flip. So you move into the property and then you fix it up, and then you wait 2 years, because then you're going to have a $250,000 exclusion if you're a single person, where you don't have to pay capital gains to the government, or 500 for a married couple. So that's going to give you more profit, because you're not going to have to pay Uncle Sam on your profit, because that's going to fall into your capital gains exclusion, which is going to save you a ton of money, because that's where people end up paying a lot of money to the government, and they're not getting what they should be getting on a flip property if you can live in it while you're fixing it up. Sometimes that can be hard if you're single and you don't really care where you live as far as living in a construction site, then that could go in your favor. Let's say you're a single guy, you're going to do a lot of the renovating yourself. Why not live there, fix it up yourself, make a huge profit? And then that's all tax-free money. I mean, it only makes sense. That's a great way to make money in real estate and build wealth. Number 5. So that would be renting part of your property out. That's like a garage, a barn, RV parking, a parking space. You know, people need to park their car somewhere, and they live in a condo or something, and they only allow so many spaces. They're looking to rent a space to park their car. Garage, again, you can rent out a garage. This is all extra ways to make money that you can actually use your property to do the house hacking. So one good thing about that is you don't have anybody actually living in your property or anything like that. You just are renting a space of your property out. If you have acreage, this is number 6. If you have acreage, if you have a property that has acreage, enough room, buy a RV or mobile home that you can put on your property and you can rent that out. That's another great way to house hack. RV or a mobile home. I had a client one time, they had a house that had an acre of land, and they had a mobile home. They had it delivered to their house and put on their property. Their dad lived in it, but it was a separate living facility, and you can rent that out too. So that's another way to do the house hack. You do want to verify that your property is zoned for that. So what you don't want to do is jump into doing something and then finding out later on you have to remove it. So always check with the city to make sure that you can do all of these things that I'm telling you legally without having the city come in and tell you got to take it out. Because if you aren't allowed to have a mobile home in your backyard, if it's a small yard, they're probably not going to allow it. But if you're on like a whole acre of land, usually they allow something like that. But it's a good idea to check with the city just to make sure, because what you don't want to do is spend money and then later on find out you have to remove it. And that's not a good thing. One thing about house hacking, sometimes it's going to require sharing, your space with somebody else. So if you're not good with that, then it's probably not going to be your cup of tea. If you're okay with it, and the thing is, if you need the money and you need that extra money, then you know what? You might as well do it, because it's a way to bring in extra income. It depends on how much you need the money or how much you want the money. I've known people before that had owned 5-bedroom homes, lived in one of the bedrooms and rented out all 4 bedrooms. You're going to have different people coming in and out all the time, and a lot of traffic. But some people are okay with that because it's bringing in extra money. California, a room rental now here in California, you're going to get about $1,200 to $1,500 a month for a room rental now. If you got 3 rooms, $4,500 a month for rent out 3 bedrooms. It might be worth it to bring in that kind of money if you can handle having roommates. You really have to screen the people really good. Or if it's a friend or somebody that you know you get along with, then it's probably okay. You don't want to have strangers coming in your house, because some people don't want that. But if you screen them really good, it could work out okay. I have friends that have roommates that are doing just fine. They've had a roommate for 3-4 years that pays their rent. They get along good. Maybe the person works all the time. They're never home. I have a friend of mine that just moved into a condo, and she's got a roommate, but The guy's never home. He travels for work, so he's never there. So if you get that situation, the person's not even going to be there hardly ever. People work, they go to work. They're not going to be home all the time. It's up to you whether you want to give them kitchen privileges if you rent a room out, so you don't always have to have them wandering through your house. If you have a place that has a bedroom or something where it has an outside separate entrance, that's the prime way to have a rental. I had a friend of mine that had that, and she ended up selling her property. I couldn't understand why, because she could rent out her master bedroom. It had its own separate entrance. It was a condo, a one-level condo. It had its separate entrance, patio, and a slider, and she put a kitchen in there, and they could come and go, and then she kind of separated it. It was separate. It was at the end of the hallway. She put like a barrier in, sound barrier, in where the door is, and she rented that part out. And she got a lot of extra income. I don't know why she ever sold the place, because my opinion, that was like kind of a perfect rental property for bringing in extra money where you live. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll be giving more real estate videos. And so go ahead and like, subscribe, and I will be giving more videos on all kinds of different stuff about real estate. Again, I've been doing this, selling real estate, for almost 35 years now. And I've been very successful at it. I've got a lot of experience flipping property, owning rental property, and selling property. So I've got tons of experience and knowledge that I want to pass on to you. And that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm doing my channel. I want to pass on all this information to you so that you can use real estate in your favor and make money in real estate. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day. See you in the next video.